So that's the basics of the situation and the amount at which Taiwan's national minimum wage currently stands. But the big question is it enough? Is $23,100 per month enough for somebody to live on? Well, of course, it's difficult to say, and it's equally difficult to compare Taiwan's minimum wage with that of a different country. So many factors such as cultural differences, inflation, cost of living have to be taken into account when comparing. But I did have an idea. What I will do, I will take each country's national minimum wage and compare it as a percentage of that country's GDP per capita. Therefore, let's start with Taiwan, whose national minimum wage is about $9,000 per year. We'll stick with US dollars for this comparison, just so we don't get any confusion. Yes, $9,000 per year here in Taiwan against the national GDP per capita of... Where did I put that number? Of 25,000 US dollars means that Taiwan's national minimum wage represents about 36% of that GDP. Whereas in the USA, people have a higher national minimum wage of 15,000 US dollars a year, but it only represents 28% of their GDP. Therefore, for every dollar earned by the country as a whole, USA are paying a lower national minimum wage. My country, the UK, I am proud to say, pays a national minimum wage of 49% of the GDP, while our friendly cross-strait neighbors over in China, with an annual minimum wage of less than 2,000 US dollars, are paying just 22% of their GDP per capita. But by far the leaders of the world in this comparison are the Australians, who not only have the highest minimum wage in the world, but also an incredibly high GDP per capita. And they pay 53% of their GDP per capita annually as a minimum wage. Pretty good stuff, but is also skewed by a relatively small population compared to a huge export market that they have. But anyway, we probably are getting a bit lost in figures and numbers, which is something I want to avoid, as what I want to talk about is how the national minimum wage here affects people and whether or not it's enough to live on. And I feel that this is where knowing a little bit more about the culture benefits me in being able to talk about it, because there is a lot of money in Taiwan, a lot of money. And even the most simple looking on the surface, a very frugal looking family are probably sitting on a lot of money inherited through the generations. Therefore, people who choose to follow the traditional family model and don't move out of their house as we do in the West when we're 18, 21 years old, these people can save a hell of a lot of money and don't need to worry about rent or mortgages as we do back in the West. Many houses are already bought and paid for with no mortgage and kept in the family, passed down through generations. Here in Taiwan, if you're a son, then you just stay in the family home, or if you're a woman and you marry into another family, then you're likely to move into your husband's family home. Therefore, a minimum wage job paying $23,100 a month may be enough for somebody to live on and get by on a relatively simple life.